Hi, I'm Jessie Culbert Boucher, and I'm a Redfin agent.
Hi, I'm Daryl Fairweather, and I'm the chief economist at Redfin.
Thanks for sitting down with us today, Daryl. First, wanted to start with what's going on in the economy right now that's fueling talk of a recession, and is there going to be one?
The economy is in a fragile place right now. The manufacturing sector, for instance, is contracting, and that could spill over to the rest of the economy. But consumers are spending, and they're spending strongly, so that seems to be an indication that the economy is doing pretty well. Also, unemployment is low. But overall, I think the risk of a recession is only about 1 in 4 in the next 12 months.
And that 1 in 4 number, what's that based on?
So if you look at the overall economy and all the economic indicators, consumer spending, manufacturing, exports, imports, government spending, that overall picture paints the picture that we're only about 1 in 4 chance of entering a recession. If you just look at the financial sector, though, the odds look a little bit worse. It looks like about 1 in 2 chance.
So when we talk about a potential future recession, there are a number of factors that it sounds like you're looking at. Housing wasn't one of the things you mentioned, and that kind of leads me into my next question, which is looking back at the 2008 recession, how was that impacted by housing, and what were the ripple effects in housing?
The 2008 recession was really unique. The recession started in housing with the foreclosure crisis. We had this housing bubble where home prices peaked in around 2006, and then they came crashing down. They fell 17%. And a lot of people found out that they were underwater on their mortgages. They couldn't continue to afford their homes, and they either entered foreclosure or had to sell at a loss. And that brought down the housing sector and also rippled into the financial sector, and then it started spreading everywhere, and we entered the Great Recession. But that was pretty unique. Usually during recessions, home prices fall maybe like 4 to 6%. And then in the 2001 tech bubble, home prices kept going up. So just because there was a recession, there's no guarantee that home prices are going to fall. And if they do fall, they may not fall all that much.
So what I'm hearing is that every recession is unique, and we don't know exactly what was going to cause the next one or what the impacts will be, but that housing looks to be safer this time than the last time around.
Yeah, so most economists see the biggest risk to the economy coming from outside the U.S. economy, coming from the trade war or from global weakness, which could spill over to the U.S. And that could cause a recession because if we're not exporting as much, then people may lose their jobs, and then they may not spend as much money, and that could cause a recession. But it's not going to start in the housing market, most likely. Housing prices are really high, but they're not really in a bubble. Housing prices are high because there's a shortage of homes. It's caused by fundamental economic reasons, not a speculation bubble like it was the last time. So,
if you were talking to a buyer or to a seller right now, what advice would you give them about their plans?
if you're a buyer, I wouldn't think about trying to time your decision for when the next recession may or may not happen. I would look more at your own personal situation. Is now a good time in your life to buy a home? And if you're buying a home, you're probably going to be staying in it for a good amount of time, like longer than a recession would last. So whether or not home values fall, it shouldn't really impact you personally. You should just think about, can I afford this home? Would I be able to afford it even if I lost a job? That could happen during a recession, but it might happen not during a recession. It's something to always think about. And then if you're selling a home, again, I would think about, can you afford this home? Would you still be able to afford it if you lost your job or lost some of your income? And if you think that your budget is really going to be stretched, then now may be a good time to sell, because you don't want to be in a position where you can't afford your monthly mortgage payment and it's taking longer to sell your home and you're having to sell it below list price. It would just be a bad place to be in and very stressful.
So it sounds like the decision of whether to buy or sell is personal, and people shouldn't try to time it. It's like timing the market. And also I've heard you mention before that having about 6 months of reserves on hand for if a recession was to strike or something changed in your life, that you had some comfort there.
Yeah, that's a general rule of thumb, is you should have an emergency fund that could last you 6 months. That's long enough for you to find a new job or to sell your home if you really needed to sell your home. That way you're not having to miss monthly mortgage payments or sell at a loss or do something that you're only doing because you're stressed out that you don't have enough money.
Thank you. Well, this is helpful, and I appreciate you sitting down with me today.
Thank you for having me. And if anyone out there would like to know more about their local housing market, redfin.com is a great resource. And I'd also encourage you to talk to a local Redfin agent who can give you all the on-the-ground insight.